In the summer of 1823, in the quiet and wooded stretches of southeastern Ohio, an eerie silence lingered in a place where survival clashed with science and mystery overshadowed progress. This is the story of Margaret Hayes, a story so disturbing, so terrifying, that 3 experienced physicians would rather walk away from medicine than continue to treat her. Margaret Hayes was a brilliant and curious 22-year-old woman living with her widowed father on a modest farm in Millfield, a remote settlement just south of present-day Athens County. She was unlike most frontier women of the time, literate, sharp-minded, and fascinated by science and medicine. Her father, a former schoolteacher, encouraged her learning and provided her with medical journals and literature borrowed from a local doctor. Her diaries were filled with observations about plant growth, anatomy, and even rudimentary philosophical thoughts about life and death. But beginning in late June, something shifted. She became more reclusive. Her neighbor and friend, Mary Brennan, noticed the change and reported it to the town physician, Dr. Samuel Hartwell. Days later, Margaret vanished. She left behind no sign of struggle, no broken windows, no obertura in the furniture, just an empty bed and a silence so loud it terrified her father. Local search parties scoured the dense Ohio forest for weeks, but there was no sign of her. Rumors spread: wild animals, abduction, madness. But none explained her sudden disappearance or what happened next. 3 months later, on October 23rd, 2 hunters discovered her near Miller's Creek. Naked, covered in symmetrical scars shaped like spirals, triangles, and lines. She spoke in broken phrases. The sessions must continue. The copper probes. Her eyes were blank, her voice emotionless. And most disturbing of all, she wasn't pleading for help. She was reciting observations, like a scientist describing a specimen. Only the specimen was her. When Dr. Hartwell examined her, he was horrified. The scars weren't from torture or a wild animal. They were surgical, clean, precise. Each incision followed the flow of her nerves and muscles as if drawn from an anatomy chart. Her behavior was equally chilling. She'd position herself in specific poses and say, "Doctor, I am ready." But she wouldn't answer who did this to her. She would only describe the procedure, the copper instruments, and the electrical stimulus. Dr. Hartwell documented every observation. When he sought help from 2 other respected doctors, Dr. Abraham Moore and Dr. Cartwright, they left after 1 session, visibly shaken. Cartwright reportedly burned his notes and left Ohio for good. But the real discovery came days later when Margaret's missing journal was found near the edge of the woods, wedged between logs. The entries were disturbing. June 28th. Electrical apparatus may restore damaged nerves. If applied with precision, the results could be permanent. July 1st. I have been invited to observe procedures. They believe I can contribute. Father need not know. July 12th. Sessions begin tomorrow. The doctor says pain is temporary. Scientific knowledge is eternal. I consent. The final pages read more like lab notes than a personal journal. The references to stimulus and electrode placement grew frequent. Dr. Hartwell was shaken. This wasn't abduction. This was experimentation. Inside her dress, he found a fragment of paper sewn into the hem. It was written in elegant script on expensive parchment. The subject must be restrained before applying current. Probes inserted no deeper than a 1/4 inch. Duration, 30 minutes. It was professional, detached, and terrifying. Who wrote this? And why? Hartwell searched the nearby settlements for leads. Then, Samuel Brennan revealed something disturbing. For months, lights had been flickering in the windows of an abandoned estate 5 miles north, the Westfield property. Supposedly deserted since 1821, that Hartwell made the trip. What he found there was beyond comprehension. A converted medical lab. A central table with blood-stained leather straps. Drawings of a human body pinned to the wall, each scar meticulously mapped. Copper instruments. Jars of chemicals. A journal marked Subject M. Day 1. Baseline measurements complete. Initial incisions made. Subject remains conscious. Day 15. Copper probes heated to 120 degrees. Response optimal. Day 32. Subject assists in positioning. Session durations extended. The doctor conducting the sessions knew what they were doing. This wasn't a madman. It was a trained professional. And then, the final horror. The handwriting matched medical correspondences Hartwell had exchanged with another doctor. A respected one. Dr. Elias Cunningham of Athens. A Harvard-trained neurologist known for his studies on pain and reflexes. Dr. Hartwell never confronted Cunningham. Instead, he turned his findings over to the county magistrate. The records were sealed. Cunningham was never charged. Some say he vanished. Others claim he continued his experiments elsewhere. Margaret was taken in by relatives, but never recovered. For decades, no one spoke of the case. But now, 200 years later, the truth is out. The story of Margaret Hayes is more than a ghost tale. It is a chilling reminder of what happens when knowledge is pursued without conscience, when science ignores humanity. And if you think this is the only case from early American history that was covered up, you'd be wrong. More stories lie hidden in our archives. Stories of people like Margaret. Stories the world tried to forget. Subscribe if you want to hear them.